Hello, welcome to the fourth episode in my book review series. We're going to veer off a little today. Previously, I had done mostly historical fiction, maybe a little nonfiction. Today, we're going to go with science fiction, which is, I don't usually read it very often, but if there is a good book in it, then I will absolutely read it. So the book that we're going to be reviewing today is Dune by Frank Herbert. Absolute classic. The movie is great. The second movie, I suppose. I haven't watched the David Lynch movie. People tell me it's pretty bad, but I have to watch it eventually. It's got some pretty good people in it. So, my copy has obviously seen better days. There's a chunk taken out there at the bottom. But this is one of the most strange books that I've ever read. As usual, I'll go with the summary and then I'll say what I liked, what I disliked about it. So, the book is set in a fantasy, well, not really a fantasy, it's set in our galaxy, technically, but the only people that are there, instead of aliens, they're just humans, and the humans populate the whole galaxy, and there's not really any alien life that I can think of that they see. Most of it's introduced from Earth, like carried off, which is a really interesting concept, because I believe that while there are aliens, we'll have to search a while to find them. Anyway, I'm veering off. It's very much a product of its time. It's a big hippie book, I gotta say. There's a lot of drugs. There's a bunch of talks about anti-war and stuff that really only fit with Vietnam and all that. And it might not have been published around that time, but it was reflective of that time. Frank Herbert was a very strange guy. People say he was a good friend. Some of his kids say he wasn't a very good dad. Some say he was a great dad, or in other instances, sometimes he was a bad dad, sometimes he was a good dad. I don't really know what to make of that. I don't know a lot about the man personally. I've watched a couple video essays about him, but that's really all I can talk about personally for him. But Dune is absolutely his masterpiece. He actually wrote a ton of Dune sequels that not a lot of people read, but the first book is absolutely his best, his classic. Alright, so for the summary, it follows Paul Atreides and the House of Atreides, who are, fun fact, canonically descended from Agamemnon from the Iliad, which is, I just thought that's a really cool, little fun historical tidbit. They are the rivals. They're the good guys, technically. There's not really any good guys in Dune. Paul's not even a good protagonist. He's very intelligent at the start. I think he has good intentions, but he later becomes kind of a monster. But the Atreides are, I guess, the good guys, if there are good guys. And their rivals are House Harkonnen, which are... Their planet is very industrialized. Again, hippie culture. They like nature, which is what Caladan, the homeworld House Atreides, is. And then the bad guys are the industrialists, the capitalists, that sort of thing. So, the whole galaxy is controlled by the Empire, an empire, and the leader, the Emperor, Shaddam Corrino IV, he is playing the two houses against each other because they are his two biggest rivals for the throne. And he's kind of paranoid. He believes that Leto Atreides, the father of Paul, wants to take the throne, even though he really doesn't. So he plays them against each other. Arrakis is a desert planet. It's called Dune, which is where the title comes from. And it's the only place in the known galaxy where they can get spice, which is essential for space navigation, that sort of thing. And there's nowhere else they can get it, so that makes the planet absurdly valuable. There's a side plot. There's a thing called the Chome Corporation, which kind of controls the stakes in these interstellar trade and stuff, and they say that half a percentage point can change the ownership of entire planets, which is how important it is, which is crazy. And the Spacers Guild, who run the intergalactic travel, they kind of charge exorbitant amounts. They're barely human anymore because they travel so much between the stars. They're really creepy. I don't think they're even ever mentioned, but they're hinted to not even really be human anymore. So the Emperor gives House Atreides Dune, Arrakis, from House Harkonnen, who's had it for several decades, I believe. And at first glance, this is a great thing, right? This is amazing for House Atreides. It's a very valuable planet. They'll make a lot of money. However, it's pretty clear from the start that the Emperor is only doing this so that House Harkonnen will take revenge, and the Emperor is going to help them take revenge to wipe out House Atreides, and then he can use the blackmail of House Harkonnen wiping out House Atreides to hold over the Harkonnens so that they don't take the throne from him. It's really a genius piece of leverage, and he would have succeeded if Paul hadn't lived. So, he's not naive. He's a good guy, personally, and he's not naive, but he's kind of hopeless. He's doomed by the narrative to fall in this conflict, and he kind of knows that. But he does his best to get Arrakis off the ground. The Harkonnens give them a lot of faulty equipment. There's some murders. It's just a bad situation all around, although they do get the respect of some of the local Fremen tribes, which live on the boundaries of the Dune. So, eventually, after several months or years or whatever of House Atreides holding this planet and kind of making piecemeal profits off of it, they do eventually get attacked by House Harkonnen. They don't use nuclear weapons because those are illegal. But they do use. There's a funny combat system in Dune. You have to move slowly, or else the blade doesn't penetrate your shield. It's a really cool blend of futuristic and ancient technology, and I'm shocked that nobody else thought about it earlier. I mean, I think it works a lot better than the Star Wars lightsaber stuff, even though I love Star Wars. So, anyway, the Harkonnens do prevail. They kill basically everybody. The traitor, Dr. Yu, who is the family doctor, he's only helping the Harkonnens because his wife is captive, but he is a traitor. And basically they kill Leto. The Baron Harkonnen, he barely survives because of a poisoning attempt. But basically, Paul flees into the desert with his mother. The Baron is dismissive about this, obviously, because the desert barely brings anyone back alive. There are these huge sandworms that can kill, and there's barely any water. It's a very bad place overall, although they do really, really underestimate the Fremen. They think there's at most, like, a couple thousand, but there's actually millions across the entire planet, but he doesn't know that. So, once Paul makes it across the desert or whatever, since he's technically the Duke of Arrakis now, he has his mother become first of all, he has to gain the trust of the tribes, and he does that by pledging various cool things. He gains the trust of Liet Kynes, who in the book is a man, in the movie she's a woman. And he is the planetary ecologist, I believe. He's technically the Emperor's servant, but he likes Paul so much that he doesn't really follow the Emperor anymore. And he's convinced that Paul actually has the well-being of the Fremen in mind, which is why he follows him. Kynes is kind of the leader of all of the Fremen. So Paul has been getting these premonitions of a holy war throughout the entire book, basically, and he really wants to stop it. He doesn't want it to happen, but it's kind of inevitable, especially since Frank Herbert wrote 6 sequels. Like, what else are you going to write about? But he uses the Fremen army. I would not say that Paul's a bad guy at this point in time, but he is definitely using the Fremen. Like, he doesn't intend to make Arrakis a golden paradise or whatever. That comes later, but he uses the Fremen to advance his own gains, and because the Fremen are really skilled and they're underestimated, Paul discovers that just the Fremen will be enough to take back the planet from the Harkonnens. So for the second half of the book, he kind of whittles down the Harkonnens, and then eventually they do move in for the kill, and they attack the capital, Arrakeen, and the Emperor, I don't think the Emperor is deposed in the book, but like he is in the movie. I'll have to check on that. But Paul gets the Emperor's daughter, basically, as a dowry or whatever, and he becomes the heir, the very clear heir to the throne. He kills the Baron's nephew, who is going to be the new head of the house in Mortal Kombat, and he eventually discovers that he is the grandson of the Baron because his mother was a Harkonnen. and she didn't even know this, and it was just a crazy, crazy plot twist that I did not expect to happen. Especially, even though I'd watched the movie, I didn't really even pick up on it. So, that's really Dune. Paul eventually does come out on top, becomes emperor, wages a holy war, whatever. There's a lot of stuff that I'm glossing over, especially since there's like 10,000 different plots. One of my favorite moments in the book is when they're holding a feast, and one of the outsiders from another planet says, "Oh," someone says something like, "Oh, I saw somebody drown," or whatever, and one of the local people from Arrakis is like, "Drown?" And they have to say, submerge their head in water for long enough to stop breathing. And they never heard of a thing like that because they don't even have enough water to drown people in. But I thought that was just a really cool anecdote that he put in. So, overall, I love the book. It's an amazing story. The dude, Frank Herbert, could write, man. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with because of all the subplots and everything, and there are plans within plans, right? This is like 10 times Game of Thrones, and I love Game of Thrones, but it's a really hardcore book. You have to dedicate everything to reading it. You can't read something else on the side, or else you're going to lose track of all the stuff in it. There's even a subplot where Thufir Hawat, who is the Mentat, which is like a human computer, thinks that Jessica is the betrayer of Paul or whatever, not Paul, of Leto, and it's a red herring by the Harkonnens, but it's just crazy. Even though Thufir is a great guy in the book. So here are my criticisms. I've said everything that I love about the book. It's very complex. It's amazing. It's a great political story. It's a great commentary on society itself about... Okay, Dune is overall a commentary on the power of the Messiah, the power of an undisputed leader. If you give your power, all your power, to a leader, an undisputed leader, they will exploit that power. No matter how good intentioned they are or how good intentioned you think they are, they or somebody close to them will exploit that power and have power over you. And you need to make sure that you don't give too much of your own autonomy and power and trust too much in one singular person or one singular government entity, or else they can make you do pretty horrible things. We've seen this in World War II with the Nazis. We see this with the communists. We see this in Dune. It's an amazing commentary on society, and I don't think the message could be clearer, and I really don't like the movie sometimes, because even though I think that Denis Villeneuve, I probably butchered that, is going the accurate way about depicting Paul as a hero or a protagonist or whatever, I wish that they had leaned more into the, no, even though Paul is good intentioned, you should not be following him like this. He's not the Messiah. He's not the Messiah. I'm not the Messiah. Don't you understand? The Messiah is too humble to know that he is to say that he is the Messiah. Anyway, I love Monty Python. So, another commentary about the book itself is that it is there's like 600 pages in this, and they're not even double spaced either. Like, that's huge, man. It includes, the afterword is by Brian Herbert, which is his son, who published a lot of the books with Mr. Anderson. I don't think he's as good of a writer, but I think he does do justice to his father's memory. I like the guy. What's funny is that at the very end, there's a dictionary of all the different words in the actual book itself. And it is just the funniest stuff ever. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Terminology of the Imperium. Abba, a loose robe worn by Fremen women, usually black. Like, just that sort of thing. It's a great... It's an in-universe thing, too. Like, he's talking about... some of the parts are narrated as if it was years later, or it was a diary entry or something, and I like that a lot. I've employed that in the use of my own book. So, my likes, I love the political side, I love all the subplots, I love the betrayals and the like the twists and everything. It's an amazing commentary on society, and I love the message about don't put your power into a leader or you will be betrayed. But I think it's probably a little bit too long. Like Frank Herbert, cut your word count down, buddy. Maybe it would have been better in 2 volumes. I don't know. I'm not Frank Herbert, but I don't know. It just took me a while to get through. I think at times the guy writes a little bit too much about hippie stuff, like the drugs of the time, or he gets Paul high on psychedelics and he thinks all these different things for 10 whole pages, or he has like I probably can't say this on YouTube, but he's got like there's a sex thing in the book that I didn't like very much, but read it for yourself. So that's probably about gonna do it. I like Dune a lot. I'm definitely gonna be rewatching the movies after I'm done filming this and I'm done posting it. It's a great series. I really recommend you guys watch it. Good night.